You are my vision, O King of my heart. Nothing else satisfies only you, Lord. You are my best thought by day or by night. Waking or sleeping, your presence my light. You are my wisdom, you are my true words. I ever with you and you with me, Lord. You're my great Father, and I'm your true Son. You dwell inside me, together we're one. Come on, church. You are my battle, shield, sword for the fight. You are my dignity, you're my delight, my shelter. You're my soul shelter, and you're my high tower. Come raise me heavenward, oh God, my I don't want riches or man's empty praise. You're my inheritance now and always. You and you only, the first in my heart. High King of heaven, my treasure, you are my King. High King of heaven, when victory's won, may I reach heaven's joy, your bright sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, O ruler of heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision.
Hey guys!
Hey.
Welcome again to another Midweek Live from our house. Me and Lucas are here
Good to see everybody.
being your live streamers again. So, Lucas, where's the first place you're going to go when quarantine ends?
The first place I want to go is probably out to like a really nice restaurant that I don't have to do takeout or drive-through, and I get to sit and probably eat an appetizer and an entree and a dessert and coffee and stay there for 3 hours. But probably the first thing I'm actually going to do is get a haircut, because by then I'm already almost needing one bad.
Yeah.
It's going to be horrible.
It's pretty thick.
Yeah.
I think that's wise. We could save up so we can both get our haircuts,
Yeah.
because mine is getting really long. It's even past the screen. Well, I'm excited for quarantine to end, hopefully
Yeah.
soon. And I also wanted to say to you guys that I'm really sorry that your schools got canceled. I'm sure that
Yeah.
that's bringing up a lot of emotion and feeling, especially if you're in 8th grade, ending your 8th grade or middle school years
Right.
in this way is not exactly exciting. So
Right.
we're sorry and
Yeah,
we're bummed.
It's tough.
Yeah, and praying for you guys as you navigate this really weird time. But
Yeah.
let's go ahead and go on to announcements.
Yeah.
So the first announcement, as always, is to check out our Sunday service worship services that are going to be posted weekly. this is a great way to get a devotional time in, worshiping God, listening to a message, getting away from your family alone. Great excuse. And then
Or spending time with family, if that's your thing.
No, exactly. That too. Great. That's great insight. And then secondly, obviously, you're doing midweek. And really the encouragement here is to join small groups, guys.
Yep.
Please join us for small groups where we can discuss what we're all learning during the discussions, during the live stream. So please be there. If you need a passcode, you're always welcome to text or email Kyle or myself or your leader. We want you there. Please join us.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm really excited about tonight's game.
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it is going to be
It might be the best yet.
You think so?
I said it might be.
I think it might. Okay, so some rules for you guys. This game is very similar to the trivia that we were playing a couple weeks ago in terms of rules. So whenever you know the answer, put it in the chat, and the person who gets the most right will win. And shout out to Amelia and Natalia for winning last week's game. It was a tie. Congratulations, girls. And I think we have a special prize.
Oh,
Remember? Yeah.
A special prize?
About the music?
Oh, for tonight's game. I thought
Yes,
you meant a
I'm
special
sorry.
prize for last. Yeah.
No.
So in
Sorry.
addition to the normal prize, the normal winners of tonight's game, I also have a special prize if you can guess what game the soundtrack is from that will be playing in the background.
Okay, and what are they going to win?
I don't know. Chick-fil-A, probably?
Probably. Because we know TCC is addicted to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. And who can blame them?
Yeah.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
And it's open.
Yeah, get some Chick-fil-A today, guys. So, if you guys can guess the soundtrack from the game,
That the
soundtrack
for
that we're
tonight's game is from.
yeah, we're about to play it. If you can guess it, the first person to guess it is going to get a gift card to Chick-fil-A, and we'll find out how much money that will be
Right.
after the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, so guess. Listen closely, okay? So
For the actual game itself, we're going to be playing
Emoji Movies.
Do you want to
Right.
explain the
Yep.
rules for that?
I'll explain. It's pretty easy. So we'll have a spinny doohickey thingy, okay? And it's going to show you some emojis. And I'm so sorry. Our cat's down here. We got locked down here and we can't open the door. Okay, so we're going to show you some emojis. As soon as you can, guess the movie that the emojis are explaining.
The
Yes?
movie the movie title.
The movie title.
Translated into emoji, and you have
Emoji
to
form.
translate it back to English form.
There you go. You should have done the instructions. That's better.
Okay.
All right, guys. So
Are we-
let's see. What are we going to start with?
We'll start with this one might be, a little simple. I know.
Okay.
I've
Alright.
got the controls, don't worry.
All right, sorry. Okay, so we're going to start off with an easy one for you guys.
We'll see how easy it really is.
All right.
Hmm.
Seems pretty. We have like a wild animal. Seems
Perhaps some kind of large cat.
like a large cat.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what name that would be, but cat-like animal, and then maybe a crown.
Maybe something, I don't know, something royal, maybe?
All right, we got our first guess. Lion King. Yes, Claire. And
Exactly.
Good job. We got it. The
Nice.
Lion King. Awesome. This is just practice round.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's see. What do we got next?
This one, I don't know. Might be a little trickier. Might not be, though.
Let's see. I'm ready.
Are you?
Oh, this is a hard one.
This one, we got a creepy crawly.
Yep. Arachnid type creature got going on here. And then we have like a species of some sort.
A primate,
Yes.
perhaps.
Yes.
But not a low primate. Like a very smart primate,
Yes.
right? Wouldn't you say?
Very, very smart, yes.
Most of
Above
them are
most.
very smart.
Most of them. Can't say that all of them are. All right, yes. Not Lion King,
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Awesome job, Claire. For the win, Claire. Man, you're killing it.
Great. All right. Let's move
get
on.
a little bit more difficult
A
here.
little more fancy. right?
All right.
This one.
Ooh. I'm ready. I'm ready for this one. A little bit harder.
A little bit harder, as you can probably tell. There's a lot more pieces to this, a lot more emojis to this one.
Okay. We have an older gentleman, younger gentleman here, and a star.
And what kind of bug is that exactly?
It looks like an ant.
Looks like an ant. I wonder
So-
if it maybe is representing a different bug.
Well, the thing is, I know the answer,
Mm-hmm.
but I have no idea. I would have no idea what the answer is. Would you?
It's hard to say because once you see it, you kind of see it, you know. But this one is definitely
I don't know.
much trickier.
I've never seen this movie. Maybe that's why.
Really?
Yeah.
It's interesting. One of the well, yeah, I picked this one because I thought this would be a movie probably we've all seen at some point, but I guess that's not,
Yeah.
true.
All right, Dolphin Tales. Sorry.
Interesting.
Not Dolphin Tales. Anybody else? Oh.
Sorry.
Okay.
But it's actually Pinocchio.
Pinocchio, guys.
So we've got the Geppetto, the old man. We've got the real boy.
What is
The
this?
bug is Jiminy Cricket.
Oh, Jiminy Cricket.
He turns into a horse when he goes to that island, and he gets swallowed up by the whale,
Oh, wow.
like our friend Jonah, who was a prophet.
Nice. Well, thank you for that review of Pinocchio. Maybe I'll see it now.
All right. What do you want to pick? You want to pick one? What do you think's a good one for the
Yeah.
next one? This one?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That's
This
a good one. I'm ready.
I'm pretty sure we all know this one.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we all
Okay,
know
so that's a bummer.
Shrek.
Man.
Oops.
What a bummer. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
We were looking forward to that one.
Okay.
But technical difficulties. So yeah, Shrek.
So everybody wins Shrek.
Everybody
okay?
can win Shrek. We've got Donkey, the green heart,
Yeah,
because
they're
Shrek
in love,
is
and
green.
he's a green guy.
Princess Fiona lives in a castle. Well, is trapped in a castle with a dragon. We all know Shrek.
And Puss in Boots, and then the short prince.
Yeah, it's a
All
good
right.
one. Shrek's great. All right, let's move on to maybe one that isn't spoiled for you guys.
Yeah, it's a good one. Here we go. Here we go. We didn't play the music. I am so sorry, guys.
Well,
We're a little bit behind.
yeah, it's a little
I
off
don't know
tonight.
what it is. Is today Wednesday? We are supposed to be doing midweek right now, right? I knew something was missing.
Yeah, it felt like something was missing.
All right, who knows this one? We got a dog.
Balloon, a house, a guy, a couple guys it looks like. We got some guesses coming in, and not just any guesses, but the correct
Yes.
guesses.
Great job, guys.
I don't know if I would have gotten that one.
It's actually pretty easy. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I knew immediately.
Well, at least I've seen Pinocchio.
All right. You don't have to jab at me, man.
What do you think? Maybe.
Let's do this one.
Okay.
All
This
right,
is a
guys.
good one.
Okay. Here we go. We got a music note, some type of
Lizardy,
amphibian.
lizard, reptile, amphibian guy.
Yeah. Ooh, the egg on the frying pan. That's
Interesting.
A nice addition. Yeah.
Maybe it's a movie about cooking.
Okay. It's probably like a cooking show.
Probably.
Yeah. And then we got princess, an old woman. All right, come on, guys.
We do.
Rapunzel, close. Grace, you're getting there. Tanfold, not Tanfold.
Close. Tangled.
Tangled, yes, I'll give it to you, Emily. Don't worry. I know that was just a typo. Don't worry, girl.
Also, yes, it's Mario Kart.
All right.
You guys know Mario Kart music pretty well.
And this is actually Mario Kart from Mario Kart on Nintendo 64, which I don't know if any of you guys have or have ever played on a Nintendo 64, but
Yeah,
honestly, one of the best systems ever.
it's pretty good.
All right.
I think we have time for a couple more of these good ones.
So,
I think probably
yeah.
those ones will have the same.
Okay.
This one will be interesting. I wonder. I honestly would not be surprised if none of you have ever seen this movie.
Really?
Mhm.
I haven't. But I think that you guys will be able to get it. Given references and
That's the thing.
this is something that people have been referencing to the quarantine.
That's a good point. It's
yeah.
a very topical
Maybe you've heard
movie.
it. Yes, it's very topical.
Yeah.
All right, guys, who has seen it? We've got a lot of July 17th, which is one day after my birthday.
It's almost, your birthday was almost the
This?
emoji for the calendar.
Really?
Well, isn't that what that is?
Yeah,
Or
I
is
guess.
there one for every day?
I've never seen the movie.
No, I'm saying
Yes, Clara, Groundhog
Wow,
Day. You got
nice.
it. Nice. You
I
guys
was-
know your stuff.
I was wrong.
All right, Groundhog Day. Awesome job.
What I think there should be is some kind of little gopher creature.
Is there? No, there's not.
They're just the man and the clock and then all the days.
No, you're right. Why didn't
I
they
mean,
put
they
those?
got it, so.
right.
Well, it's a groundhog.
Well, I didn't they put those?
Oh.
All
All right. I think we've got.
All right, guys.
You think this is a good one?
Yeah. Final round.
This is the final round?
Yeah, I think so. Perfect music. All right, guys. You guys got to get it in fast because this one's gonna be pretty easy, and it's a classic movie.
It is pretty classic. Like, I think probably one of the biggest classics in terms of like
Oh,
cinematic history.
No, yeah.
I don't know about if it's my favorite, but it's definitely a big time classic.
Oh yeah. Judy Garland, right?
Yeah?
Yeah, and they're making a movie about her life. No, I want to see it. Very interesting. But
Well, that's not the movie we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about
Wizard
this
of Oz.
movie.
Yes. Gabriel, awesome job.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys got
Yep.
it. You got it.
I gotta say, TCC midweek students and student leaders know a lot of movies, apparently. I don't think there was a movie that nobody got.
No, yeah, you're right. And including Groundhog Day.
Yeah, even the ones that I thought would be harder.
Yeah, sorry
So
about
good job.
Shrek, guys.
Yeah, Shrek would have been more fun if we didn't spoil it for you on accident. But that is what
It is
happens.
what it is.
It is what it is, and
This
it's
is
okay.
your budget live stream.
Your Chick-fil-A gift card budget live stream.
And the Chick-fil-A gift card will go to Calvin Eprid. Congratulations, Calvin.
Enjoy that sandwich or nuggets. I don't know what your
You will
Chick-fil-A
receive it in
order
your
is.
email. Just check in. It's coming from our pockets, okay? Not TCC. So
Don't worry, Kyle.
Don't worry, Kyle. All right,
So is that we are out of time for this super fun game, but we are continuing the series, right?
yeah, faith hacks. Hashtag faith hacks, guys. We are jumping into the topic of worship today, and we have a special guest for today's discussion. Can you go to the next line, please?
Oh, I just wanted to see that series we're doing.
Okay, sorry.
Faith hacks.
So we have a special guest
Yes.
today, which I'm very excited for you guys to hear from. And today we're gonna talk about, what is worship? How do we worship? How can we together as believers set ourselves aside and faithfully and rightly worship God? And really looking at what kind of music do you guys like? What
Yeah.
music can we use to worship God? And a lot of really great discussions and discussions that will continue in small groups. So please continue tuning in, and we'll let Kyle and Adam take it away.
All right, sweet. Well, I'm here with Adam Kurahara, our Director of Worship and Communication at TCC, and I think he's coming to us from TCC. Is that your office, Adam?
Live from TCC. Well, actually not live, but I'm here at TCC. Yeah.
Nice, that works. And many of you have seen Adam before, but perhaps you've never met him. So I just had a kickoff question, Adam, if I may. What are 3 things about yourself that might help the group get to know you really quickly in 30 seconds of time? So 3 quick facts about yourself.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start out with saying I'm 34. So I just turned 34 a couple weeks ago.
Right. Okay. So you're old. Fact number
I'm
1,
like
you're old.
mid 30s. That's kind of old. Yeah, for sure. I feel like my hairline is starting to go up. So I don't know about that. But second, those of you who know me know that I love to cook. And during this time of quarantine, I've been cooking so much and haven't gotten sick of it yet. So that's been really fun to just try out new recipes and stuff. I made madeleines, which are those like shell cookies, a couple
Ooh,
days ago. They were
ooh.
pretty good.
You try like sourdough bread like
Oh
once
yeah,
or
I've been
twice?
making. So Ileana Nunn gave me a sourdough starter, so I've been making some sourdough bread. Maybe if we have our tech savviness, we'll put a picture like there of my sourdough bread. We'll see.
Yeah,
Um,
there we go. There we go. Hey, what's your Insta if people want to follow that?
Instagram, Adam Kurihara. I think I'm pretty bad with social media because you know how
Oh,
old I'm
oh,
34. So
could you post pictures of what you cook, right?
I
So
do post pictures of food, even though in my Insta bio it says I promise not to only post pictures of food. I post a lot of pictures of food. And third fact about me, I guess, is when I was in high school, I was in a blues band. So I played drums and piano and harmonica in a blues band. And we went on a couple international tours from California. We went down to Mexico and just tore up the West Coast. So I'm from California. That's bonus fact number 4.
nice, nice. Well, good stuff. Well, I feel like I know you better already. So, anyways, Adam, thanks for joining us on Midweek. We just really wanted to pick your brain a little bit, just about worship for a few minutes. And as you know, we're taking a somewhat more narrow, kind of specific view of worship during this night of our Faith Hacks series. When we think about worship, I think of like Romans 12:2, and this idea that worship is like offering your body as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. And the Bible says that's your spiritual act of worship. So that verse and kind of the entire story of Scripture, at least from what I understand, it views our entire lives as worship. So worship is a huge part of discipleship, but we're kind of focusing a little bit more specifically on worship songs and things like listening to worship songs on iTunes or gathering as a church to worship, and all of this as a spiritual habit. So, in the grand scheme of things, this is our Faith Hacks series. We're talking about little habits with big impact, and worship is certainly something that impacts us individually and corporately. But anyways, so Adam, as just to kind of to kick things off, here's a question: as we listen to worship songs on iTunes, or as we sing together on Sunday morning, what's like the number one thing that would help us prepare? Like, what's the most important thing about getting prepared to kind of approach worship in your mind?
So for me, especially in this time of being not physically in church together, it's a lot harder to kind of engage in a worship service at home. But the thing that I've noticed, and I don't know about you guys, but anytime someone prays on our live stream, suddenly my focus goes boom, and it's right there with God and with the person who's praying and on my heart. So worship's got to come from that place of prayer. I'm like, looking at my phone and I'm fiddling with cables to get the TV looking right. And then, but when someone starts to pray, I pause and wait. Okay, wait. We're connecting with the God that is above time and space, above coronavirus, and it doesn't matter anything else. We're just trying to connect
Yeah,
with Him. So, in that sense, worship is an encounter with God wherever we are, an encounter with the triune God, the triune Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and we're just there to meet with Him. So yeah, songs are great, but for me, it really starts from that place of prayer.
that's so good, and that's such a great connection of another spiritual discipline furthering kind of another one. So we're going to get to prayer in a few weeks. I'm excited about that, but that's a good insight. So, Adam, we've worked together for a little while, and we've talked a little bit about your worship journey and what you've kind of come through. But back when you were in middle school and high school, which like that was a while ago, we've already established that you're old. So anyway, I'm just as old as Adam, but anyways, you can be the old one on staff. I'll be the young one. So basically, when you were in middle school and high school, your worship experience as a teenager, like what stands out to you about that time?
Yeah, so I grew up playing classical piano. So for me, worship and specifically contemporary worship in church, like you play with a praise band, was my first experience of like playing music that was, I don't know, fun maybe.
Yeah,
Of course, I love classical music now, so I wouldn't say that that's not fun. But it was for me like neat to see that um, just get some guitars together and sing some songs together, and that's how we get to worship our God in heaven. And then, of course, in college, I had a cool eye-opening experience when I went somewhere else, than my hometown, and realized that these people were singing many of the same songs in their own way, and we were all worshiping God together. Um, yeah, and then I had a couple other experiences in college that really shaped how I see worship today. So because I studied classical music in school, I sang in choirs, and because I sang in choirs, I got to actually sing at different churches as kind of a Sunday morning job. Um, and that
Very
led me
cool.
to this quaint little Episcopal church in Santa Barbara, California, All Saints by the Sea. Even the name sounds super quaint. Um, and I was in the choir there, but I remember my view of worship widened in that season, because I remember seeing frail old people worshiping in the pews every Sunday, and by the way that they participated in the service, even though this was a style of worship that I wasn't familiar with. I grew up in a church, maybe even more contemporary than TCC. We had only praise music on Sunday mornings. Um, so this was an unfamiliar style, but I could see by the way that they engaged with the worship service how devoted they were to Jesus, how passionately they wanted to follow him with all their lives. So just a couple examples from the worship service. There's a point when you carry the cross and it goes down the main central aisle, and you turn and everyone bows to it. And I remember seeing these old people and they would bow to the cross. And there are times when they would kneel in the service, and even though they could barely kind of get up, and I'm sure it was part, they would kneel. And just seeing that devotion almost brought tears to my eyes, and seeing how much their whole life was developed by this pattern of worship on Sundays. And I know because I know for a fact for myself, that how I worship on Sundays is carried with me through the week. So when we sing, songs about putting our trust in God or relying on God, that's not just something we sing on Sunday. Those thoughts and those feelings carry with us through the rest of our lives.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what a witness from those people in that church. And it's interesting because you were talking about just the depth of their worship, but you didn't say anything about, hey, they were jumping around or they were singing loud or that, I sometimes feel like maybe among our generation or others, that deep worship is equated with like passionate worship. Like you have to jump around, you have to cry, you have to sing really loud, you have to be happy. What is the role of like emotions in a worship song for you? What makes a deep worship experience?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to knock emotion, because we are humans. We have physical bodies, we have emotions, and God gave us all those things. So definitely there should be times when we worship and we're overcome with God's love, and it brings us
Mm,
to our knees, or it brings us to tears, or it makes us want to jump up and down. That's all very good. But on the flip side of that, we can't only call that worship and say if we don't feel something here, then we're not really having a worshipful experience.
mm,
Especially when you worship week after week in the same style, sometimes it might feel like, okay, here we go again. But I think that's the part of a life of discipleship, a life of following Jesus. We want those highs, but we also want to be faithful through all seasons. I went to a camp, a winter camp, where I became a Christian in middle school, very much like Camp Berea on the West Coast. And I remember hearing the music and just being so overwhelmed with God's love for me. I've heard other of you students talk about having
mm,
a similar experience, and that's awesome. I think God meets us there in really powerful ways.
mm.
And then I hope and pray that as we grow older and as we see that worship looks different ways, sometimes it has that emotional connection, emotional charge to it. Other times can be more quote unquote normal. That's all worship, and that's all good and what God wants from us.
Right, right. Yeah, well, Adam, I realize we've been talking a good bit about like kind of preparing to sing and kind of getting that heart attitude cultivated. But when we actually get to the songs themselves, what kinds of songs should we listen to or sing? And what might be some of the characteristics and focuses of those songs that you think are essential for real worship?
Yeah. So we're in such a cool moment now because the kind of music, the quality of music that's coming out of the modern church is amazing. You look at Hillsong United, right? They're churning out these amazing anthems. The
Mm.
song So Will I know like you guys have sung that in student ministries. What beautiful poetry that is. And just the
Yeah.
arc and the way it tells the whole gospel narrative. I didn't have that kind of music when I was growing up. I'm so jealous, but it's so powerful. We sang a lot of these really campy, like "As the deer panteth for," this kind of stuff. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just
Yeah,
not
I
as
was gonna say.
cool as Hillsong. So there's such good stuff out there. Um, who else is good that we sing here? All Sons and Daughters. They're actually not around anymore. That band kind of disbanded, but their music is still really good. King's Kaleidoscope is like really fun, upbeat, and really intricately arranged music. They often will take hymns, but then kind of put them to new music or maybe put them to a new beat that sounds fresh.
That's
So
cool.
there's just such a rich uh, menu of music out there that it's a great time to be exploring all that stuff. So I'd be happy to give more recommendations, but those are what come to mind.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we would love to get a window into Adam's playlist on his Spotify. But I guess one of the things, Adam, that I appreciate about you is that you have this profound um, value for songs across the generations. And I came into TCC just singing a lot of Hillsong, Chris Tomlin, David Crowder band, and you've opened up my eyes to just the value of hymns, even though sometimes the hymns have less approachable language. Like maybe there are some words that I didn't always understand, but the things that they say about God and have said about God across the centuries are phenomenal, and I appreciate that about you. And that
Yeah,
connects to your background too. I mean, with sacred music,
right.
um, what do you appreciate about the hymns or the old hymns
Yeah,
that we
yeah.
sing?
Well, it's a cliche, but they've stood the test of time, right? All of the crummy music from 1560, we don't really sing anymore. We just sing the greatest hits from the previous centuries. So we're actually doing an evensong service tonight, and I'm here setting up for it. So this is kind of nice. I can actually show you some lyrics right here on the screen. Um, one that came to mind recently for our evensong service is "Abide with Me."
Mm.
If you know, our whole church is going through this theme of abiding and thriving this year. From John 15, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you abide in me, you will bear much fruit. This hymn is based on that concept, and it's old. The lyrics are a little bit archaic, but it's amazing how they continue to speak to us, maybe even more so now in this context of coronavirus. So here's some lyrics. It works. Abide with me, fast falls the eventide. Now, those are a bunch of words we never use, right? So let me translate.
Yeah, what's
Stay with
eventide?
me. Stay with me because evening is coming. So eventide is the time when it's becoming evening. Fast falls. It's like the sun is setting. The darkness deepens, Lord with me abide. That we can understand what that means. But it's actually two things, right? It's not only getting dark in our evensong service, in our evening
Mm,
time of worship,
mm,
but the world is getting dark, right? There's a virus that's spread around the world. There's darkness out there. So it's not just a physical darkness, it's a spiritual darkness. When other helpers fail, so that's to say, when other things that we rely on are far from us or are not working anymore, and comforts flee, right? We can't see each other in person. Help of the helpless, oh, abide with me. Jesus is the helper of the helpless, right? Comfort of the people that need comforting. Oh, abide with me. And I guarantee if you learn these hymns, when you go other places after here, you might find churches around the world singing these hymns. So
that's phenomenal. And I'm just curious, Adam, because you're up front, you're leading worship all the time. I don't know how much you can always feel personally encouraged in the moment. Like you're on your A game, you're focusing on leading. How have over the years you felt encouraged by our worshiping community
mhm.
on Sunday mornings? Have you felt encouraged?
So I love looking out, and
Mm.
I miss looking out on the church and seeing everyone's faces singing along. That's why I'm excited for Evensong tonight because we're doing it through Zoom, so I'll be able to see a few faces up at the top of the screen. But we really miss being together. One story that comes to mind: um, Some of you probably know that I went through a divorce about 4 years ago now. It's been a while, but that was obviously a very, very painful and trying time, and I could not always sing myself. And I remember being in the congregation. Sometimes I would go to other services so that I could be experiencing worship service without having to lead. I remember being in those congregations, not being able to sing myself, but hearing the voice of the congregation sing over me.
Wow.
I remember I would go and sit in the front row because I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want anyone to see me. I just wanted to be kind of left alone with God. But then I hear the voices of the whole congregation coming over me.
Wow.
And it just carried me through that really, really difficult time.
Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful. Yeah, gosh, Adam, we're just so thankful for you and your leadership. And I know you work a lot with the student band. Y'all are working on a song for this week, I think Reckless Love or What a Beautiful Name. But thanks for stopping in for a moment for Middle School Midweek. I know you got to work on Even Song and whatnot for later today. But thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. We'll see you tonight.
All right. Thanks, Adam.
All right. Well, thank you to Adam and Kyle for such amazing insight. And I was just like, as I was watching, I was like, yes, like same experiences, some of the same experiences I've gone through.
Definitely.
And just a lot of things I can relate to. And like Adam was saying, it's a way to really connect with God and forget everything that is going on around me, and especially during this time. Worshiping and music, like literally just having worship songs going on in the shower or while I'm cooking, it just helps me to really, like, if you can imagine somebody carrying a book bag that's 100 pounds and taking it off in front of Jesus's feet. And that's a way for me to intentionally say, like, okay, God, I'm coming to you intentionally. I'm going to take this posture of coming before you humbly, and I'm just going to take all the focus off of me, everything that I'm going through, and focus it on the person who has control, who is in authority, who knows everything about everything going on right now with COVID, and he is the most important thing that's in my life, and I'm going to take this time to remember that and show him that, you know, I'm here. I want to learn more about you. I want to receive you in this way of musical worship.
Right.
And
music does such a good job of capturing those emotions, not just with the words, obviously, which are really important, but music itself can
it's radical.
Really
it's
communicate
crazy.
Different, you know, like a happy song and a sad song really makes us feel those emotions that we have in a different way that, like you're saying, we can use it to worship and to direct those thoughts and feelings in that way to God. Yeah.
And I have a few favorite worship bands. I don't know if you guys have any, but it's literally who Adam said, King's Kaleidoscope is a super like upbeat, fun, so fun style of worship music, and All Sons and Daughters. And I'm very committed to All Sons and Daughters. And I know that Adam is right in that they disbanded, but I'm so committed that I got a tattoo of one of the lyrics from their song Brokenness Aside. And then I would have to say my last favorite band would have to be Rend Collective, which is more of a folksy type of worship band. And they too take a lot of hymns and recreate them into kind of a folksy style. There are so many musical worship options for the different styles of music that you guys might like. But those are my favorites. What about you? And what do you think of? What's your response to?
Yeah, I as far as bands, I would agree with those picks. They're just, it's hard to beat that group of bands and their songs. And I really appreciated what Adam was saying and what Kyle brought up about appreciation for and a love for the music and the worship that comes from across the years, not just all the best stuff that's coming out now, but all the best stuff that's come out forever, that Christians have gotten together and they've written songs to worship God. And thanks to things like the blue hymnals in the sanctuary that we usually sing one or two songs from at TCC on a Sunday morning, and other books like that and other collections, that we're able to worship with different language than maybe we're used to, but that doesn't make it better or worse. That makes it just a bigger a bigger pool of worship songs to draw from, because we're not just limited to what came out last year, but we have a whole world of worship to take part in. I really would
all the people that have come before us,
right,
who are no longer here, but who are worship the same God that we worship and love the same God that we love. We're able to kind of get a glimpse into what they were going through and through their lives, looking at these hymns and these older songs.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah.
So we'll continue the discussions in small groups. Think about, what are you worshiping? Who are you worshiping? If you love music, if you love worshiping God, what are your favorite bands? We'd love to know. Think about that as you get ready for small groups. I know your small group leaders would love to hear who you are listening to right now, who you love to listen to, and maybe how we can all, through this, especially through this time, worship God on our own and collectively, even though we're all apart. But anyway, thank you, Lucas, again for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for joining. Thank you for bearing through the glitches.
Yep.
And we'll see you in small groups.